Just how concerned are we about the Spurs losing leads?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Happy Friday. Welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're in the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you all back. Hope you're having a great day. As always, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first and only spot for all things San Antonio Spurs. Subscribe, YouTube, iTunes, the Ken's 5 Plus app. Pick a platform. We are going to be there. And thank you for making the Locked On Sports Podcast Network number one in the nation. Don't forget, check out the Everydayer Club. More on that later. Hey, so what are we talking about today? Just what is our level of concern with the Spurs losing leads? Here we are, a little over halfway of the season. This is still a problem. We're making too much of a big deal of it. It's the right amount of worry. So we're going to discuss that, some reasons, and what do the numbers show? These numbers could be astonishing in the last few games. Just stand by for that. And then we're going to look ahead at the weekend game. I think we got one, the Pelicans. And then our guest might have a little revenge today. I'm a big nerd. Everybody, revenge of the Sith. We call this revenge of Rudy. It's Mr. Rudy Campos with back with Box Score Studio. He's on X. More on Box Score in a while. Rudy, you able to hold on to your revenge for a little while?
Yeah, I usually go for like 25 minutes, so I'll let it simmer for a little bit.
No, man, y'all had to poke the bear, didn't y'all? Y'all had to poke the bear, and look at Rudy's back. All right, Rudy, well, we know you're at work, so let's get you going here. One thing that's been going on with the Spurs this season is, when they're playing great, the record reflects that. No doubt about that. Number 2 in the West, one of the best records in the league. But when you break it down, the past few games, and maybe start of the season, we've been seeing a pattern here. Spurs blowing leads. Most recently to Houston, a 16-point lead they had, and they blew it. It was Houston's largest comeback this season. And after the game, Wemby was basically like, yep, here we go again. We had a lead and we blew it. So they're aware of it. If we had to go scale 1 through 10, Rudy, what is your level of worry with the Spurs continuing to lose leads?
At this point of the season, I'm about a 6. I'm about 5 or 6. I'm about halfway point. If it starts to show where the record is, it's really affecting them, which right now I think they're still third overall in the NBA, third best record. It just seems like a lot of these leads are more magnified because it's happened more often. But when it's all said and done, Jeff, they're still having the third best record in the league. It's not too concerning, especially since they're aware of it. They know the problem. It's just something they've got to fix. But I'm not overly concerned. I would get more concerned if you're coming to me and we're in game 65, 66 of the season, getting ready for a playoff push, and they're still blowing these types of leads. Then I'm more about an 8 or 9 right now at that time. But right now, we haven't even hit the All-Star break. Let's give them time to correct the ship here. It's been going on all season. A little break coming up here for the guys. So I think the coaching staff will get everything back, to where it needs to be.
Well, I'm about a 7 right now. And the reason I'm concerned about it is because it's kind of come and gone. So what I mean by that is, to start the season, it was a big issue. We all remember that. Remember the third quarter? Everybody was like, brace yourself, everybody. Halftime's over. Here we go. And then it kind of cooled off for a while. And then it started reappearing again. We saw that versus Houston, Minnesota. And these are teams that the Spurs may have to face in the playoffs. And you're giving these teams fuel, scouting reports to say, hey, don't worry about it. This young team, they tend to crumble when the going gets tough. So we're all right. Keep it close, 10, 12 points if we're down, and we should be fine. That's my worry, is that the book may be out on this team. Is that, yeah, they're out of the rebuild, but it's like I said the other night on the Locked On Spurs squad show with Casey and Devin Brown, I said, know what this feels like, Rudy? Like, yes, the Spurs are out of the rebuild. There's no doubt about that. But it feels like a soft opening of a new store, a new restaurant. Like, yeah, we're back. We're here. Yay, streamers and all. But we're not there yet. Rudy, it just feels like what we're seeing right now is a soft opening of this new era in Spurs basketball.
Yeah, take for granted, we haven't seen only but a few games, a handful of games of a full roster for San Antonio and a full healthy roster at that. You're still missing Devin Vassell, who we've completely always are saying that he's been a missing vital piece of this team, and it shows, with those big shots that he hits from
Yep.
time to time. But again, I get what you're saying. Maybe like a soft opening. This is kind of like a sneak preview of what's to come, especially when they are officially healthy and they're ready to go. Again, these guys are not accustomed to winning. I mean, Harrison
Hmm.
Barnes, Kelly Olynyk, Luke Cornett, your veterans are accustomed to winning because they come from, title teams. But the rest of the guys, they're not used to the winning environment, so they're
Hmm.
just coming around to it right now. So again, it's really really early in the season. I think it's a little bit too early to panic and stuff, but I would say if Spurs fans are panicking, I understand it completely. It's just it's just the first half of the season. They're going to be fine come the second half of the season.
What does the eye test tell you about why they come out so shaky? Why, even if it's out of the halftime or going into the fourth, we saw recently versus Houston.
Mhm.
What do you think? What do you think, from your point of view, is bothering this team and why they can't maintain?
Biggest factors for me are fatigue. I mean, you see a lot
Hmm.
of back to backs for this team, so I understand fatigue. You also have to understand too. To me, coming out of halftime, there's just no urgency. There's no motivation. I don't know if that's just something that the players just need to work on their own. But the biggest thing too, it seems like they cool off a little bit from
Hmm.
the perimeter coming out of the locker room. So again, being that you're not able to hit jump shots and you're not able to score a whole lot in the third quarter, you're getting taken advantage of. Especially if you got the lead going into halftime,
Hmm.
the other team thinks, okay, well, we've only got 2 quarters left to make up this difference. They're going to come out strong at halftime. And I don't think there really hasn't been a response when we've seen those third quarters. It's those three things are for me the biggest factors. Just cold shooting, coming out really cold. Fatigue is another one.
Yeah.
But more so ever, I think it's just the lack of motivation, the lack of, urgency to get back on the court and just continue that fast start you had.
Yeah. From my point of view, I just see no killer instinct. That's what I see.
Mhm.
Um, and it's tough to say, this team can't handle business. I'll pull up the stats and the numbers in just a few minutes, but their record coming out of halftime is well over 500. Again, I'll go over that in a bit. And then
Mhm.
going into the third, when they're ahead, it's well over 500. So, do you think maybe we're nitpicking here because the Spurs
Yes.
have a good record? Do you think this is just nitpicking right now?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
I think I said it on I said it on the last Locked On Spurs off camera
Mhm.
that I was, it's a lot bit nitpicking is what it is. I mean, it's Spurs fans that are spoiled Spurs fans and we're used to winning. I understand we've got 5 titles. We had a winning environment. Then we went into losing environment. We started winning 22 games a year. Now you've got a team that's 20 or what 18 games over 500
Yep.
or something like that. So I mean, you've got a winning environment back. Now it's every little loss, I think, just kind of gets under a microscope. It kind of gets examined. It's fire the
Hmm.
coach. It's you need to trade this person. We need this type of player here. This isn't getting it done. You're going back to panic Spurs mode. Fans just got to relax, man. I mean, like I said, we're not even at the halfway point. We were at the halfway point, but we're at
Yeah.
the All-Star break, man. I mean, a lot can change towards the end of the season. You could see this team go on an easy 15, 16 game winning streak.
Right.
I mean, it's very possible when this team is healthy. So we got to chill, got to relax. Just don't worry about it. Like you mentioned, coming out of the third quarter, they've actually got a winning record. So
Hmm.
panic button needs to be put away.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There is stats that show that in the second half, Spurs have issues. So maybe, just
Mhm.
maybe, that segment of Spurs fans are actually right. Then they should be concerned about the Spurs if they're
Mhm.
up or going in the second half and blowing leads. Let's talk about that coming up next, right here on Locked On Spurs. During basketball seasons, there's nothing like being in the building, the energy, the crowd, the first big run that gets everyone on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing for what tickets are really going to cost. That's where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing the Game Time app is straightforward and intuitive. Finding tickets takes just a few steps. See the views from your seat before buying, making choosing tickets easy and confident. Prices include
fees up front, and the total is clear from start. Features like zone deals to help unlock great seats and even better value. Whether it's an NBA game or another live event, everything is right there in one place. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time app today. Get in on the action.
Thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. Access to ad-free audio feed for Locked On Spurs, compatible with Apple's Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. An invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat for just listeners of this show and, well, hanging out with a lot of other fans on Discord. You want to go to this website right now, lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer club. Go there right now, or just tap the link in the show notes to learn more. We are back right here on Locked On Spurs, and we're asking, what is the level of concern should we have, or maybe not have, about the Spurs blowing leads, no energy in that second half, with Rudy Campos of Box Score Studio. So we said we're going to look at some numbers now, and let's start off with the good. So you're right, Rudy. I'm right. We're all right. Overall, this season, again, ahead of the Pelicans game this weekend, the Spurs are 23-8 if leading at halftime. That's road or home. That's damn good. All right. Now, road or home, they're 23-6 if they're leading after the third. Gets even better. At home, they're 14-2 when they're leading at halftime. And at home, they're 13-2 when leading after the third. So, Rudy, if those numbers are so awesome, that records are so great, what's the problem then?
Like I said, it's just the microscopic, Spurs fans that are looking at the team thinking, oh my God, we lost. We lost back-to-back games. We had a lead in one game and we blew it again. I mean, it goes to show you that they are well above 500 when it comes to leading after halftime, leading after the third quarter. I mean, it's just, could it be that the teams that they're losing it against are, concerning teams? Phoenix, you lost to them twice. I mean, you're talking about Minnesota.
Yeah.
I mean, can we really go into how many games they've actually blown a big lead? Houston most recently. All these teams are teams that are well within playoff or play-in reach. So, I mean, they're good teams. Do you not expect a good team to make a run in basketball? As we know from past years, basketball is a game of runs. It's going to have one team's going to go on a 12-13-0 run, and then you're back into it, and it just happens. It's a game of runs. It's always been a game of runs. So I think, the record speaks for itself. I don't think anybody needs to be panicking. 65, 66 games into the season, Jeff, if we're still having this issue, then okay, sound the alarm, be sure to, send that massive text message out to every Spurs fan and say, now's the time to panic. That's when you need to start panicking.
All right. Well, they say, Rudy, numbers don't lie. So let's look at the Spurs in the last 5 games. Again, qualification here ahead of this weekend's game against the Pelicans. And again, we're recording this before the road game versus Utah. So let's look at the Spurs in the last 5 games at halftime. The numbers don't lie. Then let's take a look at those numbers, Rudy. Did you know in the last 5 games, in the second half, just the second half, all right, third and fourth, the Spurs have a minus 17.1 net rating, good for 29th in the NBA. The offensive rating in the second half in the last 5 games, 105.8, good for 29th in the NBA. And defensive rating, 26th in the NBA at 122.9. I think there is a little bit of a problem here, Rudy. That's not just a little bit of a drop. That's a significant fall. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so you're talking the last 5 games. You're talking three of the losses. Name the teams: Minnesota, Oklahoma City, and of course Houston. All of the best teams in the West, basically. So again, I think it's more of the collapse of Minnesota hurt the absolute most. No urgency in the second half of OKC. That game was pretty much decided after a while, so it kind of got out of hand. And then again, Houston, they lost the lead again. So I understand. I mean, you going with Utah and Milwaukee, those two teams, they didn't have any
Yeah.
problems there. So, going on 2-3 the last 5 games, of course those numbers are going to be higher because of the second half. Spurs losing the lead by 2. They were up big in Minnesota. They were up big in Houston. So those second half numbers are going to be, screwed a little bit because you had double digit leads, massive leads going into that second half. So you got to remember it's plus 16 plus whatever else they score on top of it. Those numbers are going to be screwed. They're going to be higher than normal. So again, it's not concerning. If you want to be a Spurs fan and be concerned and that's the way you feel, then totally I understand. But it's not really concerning, especially against 3 of the teams that are 3 of the best in the West. But Jeff, what do I know, right? I don't know anything half the time according to YouTube.
Here we go. Rudy's giving you a little preview of what's coming in the last segment of this show. Hey, though, Rudy, but you do make a good point. It's who they're losing to and how they're losing to. I think that's the big issue here. It's you're losing to a divisional foe, Houston, the way they lost it, losing 16 points. You're losing it to a Western Conference foe, Minnesota, and the way they blew it. And these are teams that they're going to have to likely face, one of these teams, in the postseason. And I think that's what's concerning, if anything, is you're showing out, and the record is great. Above teams against 500 or below this season, Spurs are well above over 500. I think maybe they only lost 2 or 3 games. But it's teams that are 500 or above, or in this case, the upper crust of the West, Houston, Minnesota, OKC, they lost to. So I think that's where it gets a little concerning because fans get on edge thinking like, hey, well, yeah, way to go, Spurs. You just showed Minnesota that y'all can't handle it. And it goes back to, as Mitch said, that mental toughness, that mental focus. I get it. We're just a little over the halfway point of the season, but do you think it'll clean itself up in the remaining games of the season?
You sure would hope so. I mean, this is something that, like I said, revisit the whole topic 65, 70 games into the season, because now you're getting playoff positioning. You're seeing exactly where your team stands. Hopefully by then you'll kind of have an idea if this Spurs team is going to be healthy for the remainder of the season. So I think that's the best time to visit the concerns, whether blowing second half leads and losing to certain teams that you're going to see in the playoffs. To me, that's when you start looking at, because again, playoff positioning. I mean, for all we know, they could open up against the Lakers, who, I mean, let's be real, the Lakers are just trash right now. They're no good at all. So it just depends on who you open up against. Do I feel a healthy Spurs roster can't compete with anybody in the West? Absolutely, they can compete with everybody in the West, to include Oklahoma City. They've proven it already. They've beaten Oklahoma City 3 times out of 4. They've taken Denver. The Minnesota loss. It's just a loss, man. It's not like it was they were up 30 and then they lost by 25 or 30. Yeah, it's nothing like that. It's just stuff that happens in the NBA. Playoff basketball is totally different. I mean, you got to give this coaching staff a little bit more time to prepare these guys, because again, it's their first year together as a coaching staff with this roster. So give it a little more time. I mean, be more concerned 65, 70 games in the season.
Do you have any blame at that guy you see on your screen, Mitch Johnson, for blowing these leads of late?
Well, if I remember correctly, I've been watching the games and he's not taking the jump shots. They're missing a lot of jump shots.
Rudy.
I mean,
they on fire today.
They are missing shots. They're, it's just not going in. I'm not saying they're shooting the ball bad or taking bad shots. It's just like the rim has a cap on it. Mitch is not shooting the ball. The coaching staff's not shooting the ball. Could he adjust some things? Obviously, you can adjust to whatever you can when it comes to player rotations. But if majority of your team is cold from the perimeter, what adjustment can you make for your roster? I mean, that's the thing. You try to get to the hot guy. Victor's hot. Okay, they're feeding Victor left and right. When Victor cools down or gets in maybe a little bit of foul trouble, you try to go to Stephon Castle. Stephon Castle has a few turnovers. Do you want to keep feeding him the ball? I mean, there's a lot of different things that go into coaching than just putting players in and making sure you get your time and stuff. There's a lot more to that. So I put very little blame on Mitch, but again, I understand too the coaching staff. They've got to make some adjustments. They got to get these guys. Where I put the most blame, coming out of halftime. That's where I put the most blame, because these guys should have their players ready coming out of halftime. You mentioned it earlier. There's no urgency. They just like it's just kind of like, hey, they're coming out a little meh, and that's where I think it needs to change for the coaching staff. Again, my opinion on that.
Yeah, you know, I my reaction to this is just I think there is a handful of blame to Mitch and the coaching staff. You're right. They can't put on, you know, a jersey and get out there and do what they're instructing their players to do. You know, a lot easier said than done sometimes. But you got to make the adjustments, man. If you're seeing Houston, for example, marching back and just clawing back from that hole that the Spurs put you in, you got to stop. You got to figure out what is going on.
So what adjustment would you make?
Oh, I mean, if you know, if Wemby's out there and he's balling and you take him out as Houston's coming through, you leave him out there. If Castle is just chunking shots up, or the team is just chunky shots up, as we saw in that Houston game, call a timeout quickly. Hey guys, enough. And so I think little things like that will help. Yeah, so that's where I stand. Yeah. But here's the thing, though. You know, I go back to what we said in segment 1. It does feel like a little nitpicking because the record is stellar as far as holding on to leads. It actually is really, really, really good. It's just the trend right now, and we saw the numbers in the last 5. They're trending in the wrong way. And what adds a little bit more concern for me is that the defense is slipping in the last 5 games in the second half, as the number shown. Again, well, I'll repeat it to you. In the last 5 games, Spurs defensive rating 122.9, good for 26 in the NBA. That's not good. That's not good. And that's their bread and butter this season, Rudy. Your thoughts?
I get it. Can you, while I'm giving you my thoughts, can you look up their defensive rating for the season? Where do they rank in the season?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Or the entire league? Because I get 5-game minimum. You know, 5 games it's escalated and everything.
To answer your question then, at least in the second half for the entire season, the Spurs are 18th in the NBA, a defensive rating at 116.4. So they're kind of middle of the pack.
Middle of the pack. So again, you know, I think what I really think about is we're kind of looking at a small picture of right now a 2-3 record in the last 5 games. And yeah, the losses are glaring, especially against Houston and Minnesota. There's 2 games out of the 5 that were played. The Oklahoma City game, as mentioned, pretty much over after in the second half. I mean, they just came in and whooped the Spurs. So looking at the 2-game minimum that we've got here, the Minnesota and Houston blowing the lead, blowing double-digit leads, you know, the urgency, just adjustments and everything. And the defensive rating says, hey, we're second to last defensive rating in the league in these last 5 games. You're going to struggle at some point in the season. It's 82 games long, and you can't expect the Spurs to be, you know, top 10 every single 5-game streak or 5-game block. It's almost, you know, impossible, especially if they get a 5-game group of teams where it's like, say they run into OKC, healthy Denver, Detroit is playing good, the New York Knicks, who have a really good defense as well and know how to play against Spurs. I mean, there's certain games, there's certain 5 blocks, you know, 10 block games where it's going to be difficult for them to have that kind of defensive rating. So I think you said earlier, we're nitpicking. A lot of people are nitpicking at stuff like that. It's not a really big deal until it becomes a massive deal. And that's where, like I said, the end of the season, if you still see the same stuff, then we're talking about, you know what, I may take Houston in 6 games over the Spurs, something like that, because of that rating right there.
All right. Well, you know, what do y'all think, Spurs fans? You know, should we be concerned right now? Because this is kind of a pattern, a thing with the Spurs, not just recently, but pretty much since the beginning of the season. Let Rudy know on X at Box Score Studio. Let me know on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. When we get back, we're going to look ahead at the weekend game. I think it's just the Pelicans this Sunday, I believe. We're going to look at that. And then Rudy's going to respond to some Locked On Spurs fan comments. Rudy's not in a good mood right now for that. We'll get to that. Coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs.
Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the game tips off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings up the new boosts, bonuses, and surprises. The timing is perfect, right before games, right before the weekend starts. It adds extra energy to Friday with basketball without even overthinking it. So before tip-off, check out the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only at FanDuel, the official sports book partner of the NBA.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Mr. Rudy Campos of Box Score Studio. Follow him on X at Box Score Studio. More on that later. Hey, Rudy, the Spurs and Pelicans, they hook up this weekend. Pelicans are a team that kind of have put the Spurs on notice, not necessarily because they beat them, but because this is a team that you can't take lightly. Even though their record is poor, this is a scrappy Pelicans team. And is Zion actually playing great? Rudy, what's up with the Pelicans?
Yeah, Pelicans definitely, bottom part of the NBA. They are a scrappy team. Zion Williamson, Trey Murphy. I mean, they've got a nice little young nucleus looking to make moves still before the trade deadline. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's one of those games that you circle, and it's, remember back in the days where the Spurs, the teams would circle the Spurs and be like, that's a win, that's a win. A lot of Spurs fans are probably doing that. I'm doing the same thing. I think the Spurs do get the win, but don't overlook the Pelicans. They come to play. They are prepared to play. Their coaching staff does a really good job with them. So just because their record is what it is, don't take them for granted.
Yeah, do not take them for granted. This is the very scrappy team. They tested the team, the Spurs, that is, in the games that they played. I believe they speaking of coming back from a deficit, they came back from a deficit versus the Spurs and almost beat San Antonio once already. This almost did. They didn't, but they almost did this season. Look at some of the numbers from the Pelicans here. Let me pull them up real fast. But before we do that, though, Rudy, what got into Zion? He actually realized he was the number one overall pick, or what's going on here?
I don't know, man. I mean, sometimes it takes the number one pick overall to get going in the league, but I didn't think it was going to take them this long to get going in the league. It could be any adjustment. It could be, maybe different play calling, maybe running a different type of offense. Could be motivation. I mean, contract wise, it just, there's no telling what gets into a player to get motivated to start playing good. But we look at Zion's past. There's been times where he's looked like probably the next, coming to Charles Barkley and Karl Malone and all these power forwards. Then all of a sudden he has that 10-game streak where he's doing fantastic. Then he goes 25, 30 games where he's back to old Zion and you're getting, the 8 points and this and that. So let him run the hot streak. Hopefully it ends with San Antonio, and that's all we got to talk more about Zion after that.
Would you trade for Zion right now?
I'm willing to trade for anybody for the right price.
I know that. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
It's funny because Zion does make a little sense for San Antonio, very little inside presence, just, nonchalant type of player where he just, get to the basket, do what he has to do. Don't really need him on the perimeter. So he makes a little sense as an interior type of player, someone that can play next to Victor, since Victor doesn't like playing in the paint. Zion does. It could work, but again, contract wise and what the Pelicans would be wanting for him is just astronomical and too much to even gamble for Zion Williamson. Again, another guy you'd bring in who's not always healthy either. So got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Some numbers from the Pelicans as of this recording. They are pretty much dead last in a lot of categories. Dead last in offensive, nearly dead last in offensive rating at 113.2. Worst defensively at 120.5, 27th in the NBA. Defensive rebounding percentage, which is a little startling for me, 28th at 71.1% defensive rating. Now, where they excel in second chance opportunities, they're ninth in offensive rebounding percentage at 27.3%. And they're a pretty good free throw shooting. I mean, this is how nitpicky I am here, at 12th in the NBA. And then steal percentage, they're actually one of the best teams in the NBA, 8th overall at 8.8 steal percentage. So it seems to me, if there's one thing that the Pelicans do good is defense. They've always been kind of a good defensive team. But Derek Queen, man, where did that guy come from? Seriously, he just popped on the scene. A lot of teams at the draft almost kind of sort of wrote him off, but he's been playing pretty good this year. What do you think?
Yeah, Derek Queen was on my board list for San Antonio to draft. This was prior to the lottery. So again, Spurs were drafting, what was it, like 10th and 14th or something like that. It was like lower lottery pick. So Derek Queen, great player. I mean, he's not Tim Duncan-esque, but he's got that same demeanor. He can get the ball up and down the court, really good post moves, can definitely play around the basket, really pretty good defender. Didn't really come out of nowhere. He had a really good college run, and that's what helped him. And I think that's why a lot of teams are skeptical of drafting Derek Queen, because he just had a decent college run. How many times do we get a player that comes in off of 1 year of college and just is like, whoa, he's a really good player in college, gets to the pros, and it's like, what happened here? Look at Tyrese Thomas, one guy that was drafted at LSU by Chicago, just to name one guy. It's happened before. Spurs remember a guy like Lucas Simonik and these guys. Yep. So that's happened before. Lonnie Walker. You have a good, good careers, good overseas in college, but Derek Queen definitely got in the league. He's one to be watched, and he's a reason why, if they ever did want to move on from Zion, it's because of Derek Queen. Makes it a little bit easier.
Absolutely. Spurs Pelicans this Sunday. Hopefully the Spurs get a win. All right, Locked On Spurs fan comments. It's been a while since we've done this, but Rudy needed to make sure his camera was on for this one. So, you'll find out right now. All right. So Rudy was a guest earlier this week, and we talked about Wemby and being the face of the NBA. That was kind of a topic earlier this week because Ant Edwards said, "Nah, I don't want it. Let Wemby have it." And Wemby is like, "Okay, taking it," but should he take the mantle now? And is he generational? All that stuff. Rudy's been on the record. He's been very open about it. He said he doesn't think right now Wemby is generational. He doesn't think right now that the face of the league belongs to Wemby right now. Maybe down the road, but as of right now, no. Well, Spurs fans took exception to that and left their comments about Rudy and his thoughts. Start off with at Dazo-LV4LX. Rudy keeping it real, but capital letters way off. That's why he won't show himself on camera. Laughing face emoji. Rudy, that was directed at you, buddy. So go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't show myself on camera because obviously, I'm sometimes I'm at work. I can't. Yeah. So obviously that reason. But like I did mention in the comment, you can catch me at Box Score Studio on YouTube or the Sports Answer on YouTube. Go. I'm on camera there, but to get called out saying, I'm way off. Again, I try to explain to everybody, I give you the benefit of the doubt. I love that you come at me. I love that you can, talk to me and everything like that. I will always talk back and, not in a bad way. I'll always have a great discussion with people. But if you're going to say I'm wrong, give me the reasons behind it wrong. Now I'm on camera and you're looking at me. So let's do a little face-to-face. I mean, you want to be face-to-face? You want to see me on camera? I have no reason to hide myself on camera. If I say Wemby's a terrible player, I'll say it on camera. If I say, I would trade Tim Duncan tomorrow for a bag of peanuts, I would do it on camera. I would do everything I need to do on camera. I've done it before, Jeff. I would do everything I need to do on camera. So for this guy and this other guy that was on YouTube saying I'm scared to show my face, I'm not scared to show my face. I will tell you on camera, off camera, however. But I would love for these guys to tell me, why am I wrong? I mean, give me the proof. I mean, could it be just trolls from another network on the YouTube page just saying that so they can get their likes up or whatever? I have no idea. But again, give me a reason why you think I'm wrong. I love to debate stuff.
It doesn't stop there, everybody. Another comment. This is from @IM Lou. I think I'm saying that right. 7181. He says Rudy doesn't know what he's talking about. Actually, I'll defend you on this one, Rudy. You do know what you're talking about because you do back up stats. Like, I think one of the best examples we gave is when everybody was like applauding Wemby for being his height and blocking things left and right. You're like, well, there was a guy named Mark Eaton before that did the same thing too. So Rudy, I mean, I guess you can't to call out Wemby. I guess that's the vibe I'm getting here. What's up with that?
Yeah, I don't know basketball because I don't, I don't bend my knee and worship San Antonio Spurs basketball. That's what it is. You can't call out a player. You can't call the people's favorite team because then you don't know basketball. You don't know what you're talking about yet.
That's the go-to argument every time, right?
Yeah,
you don't know basketball. That's the go-to.
You don't know ball. I mean, considering that I was a Spurs fan before I was even born, my mom and dad used to go to Hemisphere Arena. Back in the days when they could smoke in Hemisphere Arena, they were.
I remember that.
Yeah, they were at the games when I was growing up. My dad would take me to Hemisphere Arena to see games as well. So I grew up. I'm a diehard Spurs fan, but that doesn't mean I can't, be in the middle and say, this player's not playing good. This team not playing good. I give more praise and I try to find more of the positive for San Antonio Spurs basketball than a lot of other people do. So even though I do call them out sometimes, and even though I do make some, bold statements that are always factually backed up, I do more praise and positive stuff for San Antonio. So again, I don't know basketball because I'm calling out your favorite player. Explain to me one more time. Get on the comments. Why don't I know basketball? Give me your facts. If you have enough time to write a 10-word comment, give me 20 more words as to why I don't know basketball, because apparently you know something about me that I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I always love that. Whether it's here or just social media, it's if you disagree with somebody, their first thing is always, "Oh, you don't know basketball." It's like their cover up right there. All right, but to be fair, Rudy, you did get some praise. So this is from @Nico_Barbier. He says, this is from @Poet named JT. Rudy always keeping it real! ! So there you have it. And then another commenter @360Carter3 says, as far as face of the league, Wemby isn't there yet. So you do have somebody agreeing with you as well. So yeah, so Rudy, I don't want you to think like all these people were just bashing. They weren't. There was others that were on your side too. But no, I mean, this is such a great topic, though. I think it always sparked debate because in that episode I recorded with you, I was on the opposite side. I know he is, and and I backed it up. I give you some facts and some points and everything. But I mean, it just. How about this? When do you think Wemby will make it? Does he have to win a title first, then he's the face of the NBA, or can he be the face of the NBA without a title?
He can definitely be a face of the NBA without a title. My first guess and my first bet is get to the playoffs and show you are a dominant playoff player. Now, it doesn't mean you have to win a playoff series right now. I'm not with that. If you can get to the playoffs and show you're dominant in the playoffs, that boosts you up another level. And that you talk to Wemby more than I do, so you have more access. I bet if that was brought to his attention, chances are he may agree somewhat to that. I mean, he's got to prove himself in the playoffs. The playoffs for the NBA is the big stage. Now, center stage is the NBA Finals. Get to the playoffs, prove you're a playoff player, and that you can put up some gaudy numbers in the playoffs. And I think that would automatically boost him to one of the top guys in the league to be the face of the league going forward. Look at the guys. I mean, Luka's never won, an NBA title, but he's got to the finals.
That's right. Yeah, Luka. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
he's got to the finals, but he's never won a title. So again, he's got that look. He's got the game. He's got the playoff experiences to consider him face of the league. Giannis Antetokounmpo has MVPs. He has an NBA title run, so it's the reason why he's there. I mean, everybody that's considered the face of the league all have something in common. They've put up some ungodly numbers and performances in playoffs. First off, they had to get there. So once he gets there, then we can start talking about, okay, how did he do? Hey, well, he put up 26, 12, and like 4 blocks. Then we're talking, okay, he's here. He's already here. He's getting here. He's got that itch scratched now that he's in the playoffs. Let's see him continue to go forward on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But we shall see what the Spurs do. They're going to be in the playoffs, everybody. All right, the playoff drop is over, so get ready to celebrate in a few months from now. But we'll see exactly what this team is made of. As circling back to this point of the show, hopefully by then they already cured about hanging on to leads. Look, I get it. Teams make runs. I get it. You have to bend, but the problem is I don't want them to break, and they've been breaking of late. And as far as Wemby, I think a good long postseason run will at least help his argument why he should be the face of the league. I don't know if it cements it, but it definitely does help it. So longer playoff run, the better it is for Wemby. He is Rudy Campos of Box Score Studio. By the way, those commenters want to go and talk to Rudy about his thoughts on Wemby, the face of the league. They can go to Box Score Studio, can't they, Rudy?
Yeah, Box Score Studio on Twitter, or go to Box Score Studio TV on YouTube. You can catch shorts and content that we do there. Video, usually once a week we go live on the video there. You can also catch me on Answer Now TV on YouTube, the Sports Answer, every single Sunday. So you're looking for me, you want to see what my ugly, pretty face looks like, you can go there. That way you can catch me, since you don't catch me on camera all the time on Lockdown. But yeah, that's definitely where you can go.
You're hiding from everybody, Rudy. That's what everybody's saying. That's what the streets are saying.
Apparently I'm hiding, but I mean, those that are wanting me out never come looking for me. So,
oh well. Well, you know what to do. Those fans that are calling out Rudy, go to Box Score Studio right now. Rudy, thank you again for taking time out of your schedule and joining us here on Locked On Spurs. We appreciate it. And everybody else, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Camspy, Plus app, YouTube. You know what to do. Go subscribe ASAP. Check out the NBA Everydayer Club. So what is that about? You get Locked On Spurs for free. You get a free access to a Discord channel so you can talk all things silver and black. Like, it's built for you. Again, go get it right now. You want to go to lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer club. There you can go sign up and go check it out right now. I highly encourage it. We'll be back next week on Monday as the Spurs season marches on. So for Mr. Rudy Campos, who's on camera, those who called him out, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.